Aging is a natural process, but it's a process which hurts our health and well-being.
We are lucky to have longevity researchers developing rejuvenation therapies.
Welcome to TransVision 2025.
And with that, it's time to hand over to our third and last speaker of this session, who is investor and founder of Human Longevity and Rejuvenation Syndicate, and also a strong advocate for longevity benefits. Please give it up for Ken Scott.
There we are. Okay, so Jose and this organization are very much into immortality, and I'm going to talk this morning about therapies that I think will help us achieve that immortality. I think of it as a road that stretches way out there to the horizon, and we're all on that road, and that road starts with our birth, or perhaps, if you prefer, our conception. And where's the next stop, the next signpost on that road? I suggest that it's at I suggest it's probably out there 80 years. That's sort of our expected life expectancy. And so I ask a question, and I can't see the audience, but I wonder how many here have completed 80 turns around the sun. Can I get a show of hands? Can somebody tell me how many? Is it just Helga? Helga and you? Perhaps. Only 4% of the population actually completes, or 4% of the population in the United States, and it's the same in most developed countries, is over the age of 80. Only about 1% of the population can actually look after themselves. 75% of the people have a need for care. What's the next stop? Whoops. Well, let's not go another 80, let's go another 20. Where are we at 100? Turns out that at 100 years, we only have about 0.03% of our population alive. That's 3 people in 10,000. Ooh, what about the next 20 years? 120. Whoops, nobody there. That's the problem that we have with immortality. So what I'm going to do this morning is talk to you about some of the things that we can do to achieve the rejuvenation, which is really the only solution to immortality. And we've had a couple of speakers already talk to us about Yamanaka and the Yamanaka factors and the proof that we can take old cells and make them young, and the challenge is to do that for a whole body. But until we can do that, what do we do? So I'm going to talk to you about some of the therapies that I have taken, which I think are very effective. And they're sort of in 3 areas of intervention. First of all, I'm going to talk about peptides. And I'm going to mention, first of all, that peptides are very small proteins. I think you probably all know that, less than 50 amino acids. And the 3 that I'm going to talk about are the Cavensin peptides, some peptides that come from OneSkin, OSO1, and also some fairly new peptides, BCP157 and TD500. The Cavensin peptides I've been taking for about 5 years. I take 2 capsules a day for 10 days of the month. I take 5 different ones. You can see on the chart perhaps that there's a mixture of about 21. We vary those typically from month to month. And you can see some of the results there. Yesterday, Maria Blasco was talking about telomere length, and you can see the effect of these therapies on my telomere length, which is improved. We had talks by Andrea a few minutes ago about biological age. You can see some evidence that I had some biological age improvement. It works. OneSkin's peptide. OneSkin has a peptide for the skin. I should have mentioned that the Cavensin peptides will come if you take them with a warning that they're not suitable for human consumption. They're for animal experiments only. I don't know why we pick on animals. I take them. OneSkin has a peptide that they put into a skin cream, and cosmetics are not controlled by governments the way internal consumption is. I was involved in the original trial of this product about 4 or 5 years ago. I've been using it ever since. And this is a little picture from the first, I think, 90 or 120 days. And you can see the effect of that OneSkin peptide on my skin. You can see the effect around the eye where it removed the age marks. And you can see the effect around the mouth where it significantly reduced the wrinkling and so on. I won't talk about the last peptide, the BCP 100 or 157 and the 500. We're still working on those. It's a work in progress at the moment, but it has had amazing impact on the condition of my wife who suffers from dementia. Going on, we talk about the follistatin gene therapy that comes from Minicircle. This is a plasmid. It's about basically encoded with the gene for follistatin. It's injected into the abdomen or into the muscles. Got a problem here, let me see. And what it does, of course, is it produces follistatin. It's a serum-based follistatin. It gets into the muscles, and it has some very interesting potential. It will strengthen your muscles, and it will also improve bone density. And so, yeah, okay, so it's in the blood, as I say. And here are some results, and I don't know how visible those graphs are. They're not bad. Okay, so first of all, you can see some bone density. It's sort of floating around, but at least mostly it isn't decreasing. But you'll notice that after 2 years, we're sort of back to baseline. There's an increase in the fat-free muscle mass. I weigh about 55 kilograms, and my lean muscle mass increased by 2 kilograms. And that increase has stayed, although other aspects of the therapy sort of decreased after 2 years. You can see here more dramatically on the left, the increase in the follistatin 344 levels really soared over the first year, but after 2 years, we're back down to baseline. And I actually had another injection of the follistatin therapy about 2 months ago. In another month, we'll see how the blood serum FST level is. And then on the right, you can see how the epigenetic age decreased. And Andrea might find this interesting because I went from, I think, 71 to 18 for a little bit of time. And that's, I think, a world record in decreasing biological age. The next therapy I want to talk to you about is what we call V cells, very small embryonic-like stem cells. And these are taken from the blood. And the procedure is to take about 80 cc's of blood, spin it down to get the PRP, irradiate the PRP with lights of a certain frequency to activate the stem cells that are in the PRP. And these are stem cells that we all have in our blood all our lives, but they become inactive during the embryonic stage of development, and they can be reactivated by this light. And so then what we do is we re-inject this activated PRP, typically intravenously as a systemic treatment. I also have had it injected into my knee in addition. And one of the other things that we've done is we take some of these stem cells and we nebulize them and we actually inhale them into our lungs. so that we're getting those stem cells going right into the pulmonary system. And here are some images associated with that kind of treatment. In the first one, you can see that I am standing there with a light being directed at my body. The light that you can see is not the active light, it's a targeting light. But essentially what's happening here is we're trying to attract the stem cells into a particular part of the body. And one of the treatments that I had about a year ago was really impressive. I had an injury to my right knee from jogging on a sandy beach 45 years ago. And like some of those injuries, over time it was getting worse. It was really bothering me. And so we did this treatment and we targeted my knee. And 4 days later, it was back to normal. And I have no knee problems now a year later. In the middle photo, you can see me breathing the nebulized B cells. And then on the right, you can see that the B cells are being injected by a needle. One of the things that's happened to me over the last few years is I've become rather vain. I like to have facials occasionally. I got new teeth. I'm happy to smile. You know, look good, feel young. And so that's what we're doing on the right-hand side. I've had a couple of those facials. But what's on the horizon? I'm telling you about things I've done. Oh, by the way, I should say that all of these treatments I'm doing simultaneously, which relates back to what Aubrey was talking about earlier today, where he was talking about simultaneous tests with mice and how sad it was that we didn't do those kinds of tests. Well, I do it as a human, and there are quite a number of my friends who are doing the same thing. As we go, well, I guess the other thing I should say is that the follistatin is not approved anywhere, but you can get it in Panama at a clinic that I'm involved with. I actually got it the first time in Prospera in Honduras. And the B cells you can get in some places, but it's very important that any doctor who gives them not claim any results are possible. So what do we have coming up? Well, first of all, we've got some, and this is important for older people, we need to be concerned about our eyes. And there are a couple of treatments that are either available or coming soon. LentoBio have an eye drop which will increase the elasticity of the lens, which will, we hope, all of our tests so far indicate the lens elasticity will improve and will stay, so that you would probably take this for maybe 3 months or so and then do that every 2 or 3 years. Also, you can use allogebrium to counteract the effect of cataracts. My wife has done that quite successfully. In the dental area, the Japanese are doing some really important stuff. They're actually regenerating teeth from stem cell treatments in the mouth. And, you know, we've got to get rid of this dentistry stuff. For atherosclerosis, Cyclarity is doing human trials, clinical trials at the moment in Australia, and Repair Biotechnology, who have an enzyme that will catabolize atherosclerotic plaque, probably will do those tests in the next 3 to 6 months. I will be one of the first recipients. We've got a new mix of gene therapy coming out from Triple Helix. It will be a combination of follistatin, Clotho, and SIRT1. It will be delivered by an AAV vector. I will probably get that, as Helga will, sometime in the next 3 months. This will be, because it's an AAV vector, we would expect the results to last several years. The other thing that's coming up, which is really exciting, and there was a comment on this yesterday, I believe, and this relates to mitochondrial replacement, the idea of taking young mitochondria and creating a batch of them using bioreactors, and then turning that and injecting it into the body to replace the aging mitochondria. Both Helga and I have had our mitochondrial DNA damage levels measured, which is quite interesting. And then, of course, we have the transfection of the OSK factors, and this is being worked on by Age Reversal Network under Bill Falloon. So these are things that are coming. What are my conclusions from all this? Well, first of all, although the mitochondrial and the OSK transfection are out there and hopefully coming, and maybe it will start happening in the next year or two. I need to do things in the meantime. I need to provide nutrition to my body, and I believe that my body knows how to use the transitions or the impact of the nutritions that we give it through systemic injections. I really believe that the mind knows how to handle the allocation of those resources. And so I believe that my body is actually being rejuvenated gradually. And you can judge for yourself, of course. And I want to show you how. I apologize that there's no sound. This is Bill Haley and the Comets, back from the 1952 era when I was a teenager. But you can see, that's Helga. In the previous one, it was Helga and I dancing, and you can see that I do a lot of other interventions at the same time. Now, I think, and I go back to Aubrey's comments a few minutes earlier, where he was saying that you're interested not only in numbers, but you're interested in how does the specimen look and how does the specimen act. And I believe that this demonstrates that I am, in fact, rejuvenating. And that rejuvenation presumably qualifies me for the X Prize. And going on from that, you might say, well, who is this crazy old guy who does all these therapies that are not approved by this, that, or the other government, and who goes anywhere to do it? So let me just tell you a little bit about myself. So in the longevity field, we've seen in recent years quite a massive increase in the number of longevity experts, okay? And so I don't have a PhD in bio. I'm a mathematician by training. I'm not an MD. I've done a few things in my life. In recent years, I've been focused more on the biotech field. As I said, I was in the OneSkin test. I present at conferences. I've been a test subject for MiniCircle. I'm an investor in startup companies in the biotech space. I'm an advisor. I'm a biohacker. So I claim to be a longevity expert. And the qualification that I offer you is my birth year. And if you've got experts talking to you who are half my age, don't take it too seriously. Now, if any of this interests you, I am writing a book, and you can go there and register. I'm hoping it will come out sometime in the next 2 or 3 months. And I think I've tried to talk as quickly as Juan Carlos. I knew I couldn't present this in Spanish at anywhere near that speed, and I was told I had to be very careful about not exceeding my 15 minutes. So there we are.
Thank you so much, Kenneth, and thank you also for, being an advocate for human trials, as i.e. yourself, because it's always interesting to sort of see over a correlation of longer time, but you're also doing certain therapies that aren't even FDA approved, which...
I would say that human trials are incredibly important, but I also am concerned about ageism. One of the problems we have with the few human-type activities that go on now is that, as Andrea was talking about some of the stuff they're doing, it's on people who are 40 to 60 years old. It's ageism. Those of us who are over 80 need a little more attention.
Very true. Because, thank you. Being an aging demographic in the world, I think is very important. We were supposed to have a Q&A, but I also think it's important that you get, time to do some legwork, stretching, coffee, and tea. So hopefully our 3 speakers, are you going to be in the break? So can people address you during the break? Yeah. So if you want Jose or Juan Carlos or Kenneth, then please do approach them during the break. We'll have a 30-minute break, so we'll be back at 1 p.m. And please be back on time because we really have an exciting afternoon ahead of us. And thank you for your attention so far. Go network, mingle, and enjoy some tea and coffee. Thank you.
Bye.